I'm Polly Vanderputten, School Commissioner representing Ward 2, here on a Tuesday morning, April 21st, 9 a.m., and I get to enjoy a little time this morning with two new school commissioners, Heather Amato and Nikki O'Toole. We're going to have a little chat this morning about our background and interest in serving, and Gary Golden is also here with us, so we'll have him chime in at some point. But he and I came up with a few questions, and I'll take the lead on asking those right now. So first, welcome. Could you please say your name and which ward you're representing, and give us an idea of where that is in the city? I find that really helpful to kind of understand where we're all located across Burlington. So let's start with Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather Amato. I am in Ward 3, so I am downtown and a little bit north.
Great, thanks. I used to represent Ward 3, and
That's
then
right.
they did redistricting and changed
Yes.
everything around. So where I am is now my home is really close to the exact border of Wards 2 and 3. I think North Street is the dividing line. It's like really close to where I am.
Yes.
So great, thanks. Okay, how about you, Nikki?
I'm Nikki O'Toole, representing Ward 8, and I also live downtown. I'm right on College Street, right next door to the YMCA. So that's where I am.
We're all in the busy part of town.
Yeah.
That's right. We are in the busy part of town, and I kind of like that. I like a vibrant sort of urban environment. So anyway, great. Okay, so our first question this morning is if you have a favorite memory that you could share about your time in school. So from when you were a student, do you have a favorite memory of a teacher or experience from when you were in school? And let's go to Nikki this time. We'll kind of alternate going back and forth. Do you have anything, Nikki?
I do. Something very vivid came to mind. When I was in elementary school in 5th grade, we had a broadcast. It was sort of like a Good Morning America kind of thing. And I was an anchor for the 5th grade class. And it was so fun because I remember I get to report on what was happening in the school, upcoming events. I remember I always read the weather report. So I do remember that very fondly in 5th grade.
Wow, that is so cool. That's way more involved than reading morning announcements.
Was that like a weekly thing?
It was a weekly. I think
That's
it was
awesome.
a weekly thing. I think it was on a Friday. Yeah, yeah. And there was the camera person was a kid. It was all kid produced. It was also the 90s, but it was a lot of fun. It was like a big camcorder, on their shoulder sort of thing.
Wow, super cool. Thank you for sharing that memory.
Yes.
It's awesome. How about you, Heather?
I too was thinking about elementary school. I feel like that might be everybody's favorite time of their schooling experience. I had a 1st grade teacher. Her name was Mrs. Williamson. And she was one of those lovely, very serene, she was just delightful. And I remember I liked to read a lot. Like I would not go to recess. And she really wanted to sort of enable my love of reading, but also she was like, you have to hang out with some people and like friends and go out and do stuff and be outside in the world. So she just had this like wonderful balance of sort of nurturing me as a reader, but also as a person. And to this day, I love her so much.
Wow. I'm always struck by how these people kind of make this imprint. Like I think 1st grade for many of us was a long time ago, and it's like just 1 year in your life, and yet it can be this incredibly formative time. I can name every single one of my elementary school teachers. Like I can still very clearly remember each person's name. And I guess I would say favorite memory. I have a lot of great memories because I really loved school. I was like a super earnest, eager student, I'd say most of the time. Um, I'm almost hard pressed to think of an absolute favorite memory because I kind of just most of the time loved all of it. I had a fourth grade teacher who did recognize I was struggling with some of my executive functioning skills around homework. And she'd stay after with me and even walk me home just to like kind of she was really important in my life to helping with some of the things that I was lacking. So not just the like inspiring things, but the things I needed help with. So anyway, cool. Thank you for sharing those stories. Um, do you have students in Burlington schools now? Are they, yeah?
Mine are in kindergarten, two daughters in kindergarten and second grade at Edmonds.
Oh, I have two daughters also. One is in third grade at Champlain, and the other is sixth grade at Edmonds.
Wow, great. And I have one daughter, one child, and she is finishing up ninth grade at downtown BHS. So she'll be going to the new high school. This everyone's like, ah, so excited about the new
Amazing.
high school. I don't know. She doesn't she holds her cards close to her chest these days about how she's feeling about that. Maybe she's just too cool to say like this is going to be really amazing. I don't know. Or maybe it's just like happening to her and when we have things happening to us when we're young, we don't reflect too much, which is totally.
Mhm.
Well, that's great. That will probably having kids will probably inform and give you a lot of perspective in your time on the board. And I love that we have a range of people representing all of the ages. That's really cool. Okay. Speaking of time on the board, you've run, you've decided to be elected. What do you hope to accomplish with your time on the board and kind of why are you serving? And I'm going to qualify that. I said this on Sunday too. When I ran for the board, there were a lot of things I had in mind that I wanted to accomplish. And I don't know if I have actually done that. So it could be that that's not exactly what you're thinking of. It doesn't have to be that precise, but we'll just kind of frame it that way for now. Let's start with Heather.
Sure. So I think that's a good point. I'm not sure if I have an agenda in mind. I obviously have two daughters in the district. We are relatively new to Vermont. We moved here when about 9 years ago. So my oldest was just starting kindergarten. And it's been a really great community to have moved to. We don't have any family or connection to Vermont. So it was really just a blind move. And we found really great community and friends. And the school district has been amazing. Champlain Elementary was just this little bubble of happiness for my family and still is until my youngest moves on to Edmonds. So I think for me, it's less of an agenda on what I hope to accomplish and more to really help that community that so very welcomed us into it. I know that we moved from New York City, which we lived in a very diverse neighborhood, and Brooklyn for about 20 years. So moving here and really embracing the diversity, embracing the community again as a whole is really sort of what I hope to help, I guess is a better way to put it, as opposed to accomplish. I want to make sure that I'm not just advocating for my kids, but advocating for all kids. So that's really why I ran. I have a friend on the school board. Our daughters are the same ages, so they are really good friends. And she really thought it would be good for me to be part of it. So she really talked me into it, which was nice. So I'm excited. I think it's Burlington's just a really interesting school district in that there are so many schools there's so much diversity, and I think we have a really good opportunity to give our kids just a great public education.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, thanks. A lot of what you said resonates with me just about the diversity in every sense of the word of
Mhm.
our city and also I'm struck. So I live here and my daughter goes to school here, but then I work in a neighboring school district. I am struck by the very grassroots kind of community involvement, community dedication that I encounter among parents here and the
Mhm.
community here when it comes to public schools. There has been, in my time on the board, overwhelming support, which has been really uplifting because it makes me feel like there's a lot that we can get done. If we figure out what we need to do, there's enough support to do it.
Mhm.
So anyway, excuse me. Thank you. That
Mhm.
was really interesting to listen to. Okay, your turn, Nikki.
Well, I don't have as much to say as Heather. Heather, that was, I'm really impressed. I'm just hoping to serve the community, to represent Ward 8. I love the public schools. You know, my kids, as I said, are both there, and yeah, to advocate for them and for all the kids in Burlington.
Great. Well, thanks for volunteering to serve.
Yeah,
That's how I
happy
think
to
of
do
it.
it.
It is a commitment and it is something that is massively important. And I use the word massively intentionally because encountering budgets and the system and all the different components of it, of what is required to maintain schools from the facility standpoint, and then also curriculum and staffing, and then well-being and all of those things. As you encounter those things, there's a lot to think about, a lot to digest. So, thank you both for saying, hey, let's get involved. It's great. Um, I ran for the board in part because Heather, I too had a friend on the board who was like, come on, you'll be great. This will be wonderful. And I think that I had, like, mostly I just want to do my best to ensure that our public schools have the best education we can provide for the majority of our students. So
Mhm.
that we are thinking especially about those who rely on public education to lift them out of whatever their circumstances are. Like our free and reduced lunch population is one that I come back to a lot because I feel like they generally are not going to have opportunities for tutoring,
Mhm.
people to pay for a lot of extracurriculars. And so that's kind of always in the back of my mind. And I think it has been because I was a free and reduced lunch kid growing up. So I'm always thinking, what are the ways that the schools can support that population and then all students? It's our responsibility to educate everyone, regardless of their background. Um, and to be keeping that in mind. So that's kind of always a little voice in my head if I'm to say accomplishing anything, hopefully to keep that alive for them. So, okay, I haven't been keeping track of time. Gary, how are we doing?
I think we're in good shape. We didn't
I have to
say,
run.
yes, I was about to say. Heather graciously stepped in for this amount of time, and thank you, Heather, for being here and for sharing.
Thank, thank you guys. I look forward to serving and hopefully accomplishing all that we can. I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you for the time to do this. Yeah, if you need anything else, let me know.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you guys.
Bye,
Have a good
Heather.
day.
Thank you.
Too.
Bye.
So it's fun kind of putting things together, hoping I told the others as we came on, I had a kind of a Zoom mishap where we filmed the other two new members Sunday. Polly V did a great job with them, but somewhere between recording and shipping to the cloud, it went away. So hopefully we can try again. So I've also been trying to think about my own school experiences and then serving on the board. I grew up in East Texas, very different from probably most of the board members that we have who are more Northeast. And the best word I can, two ways to see it, is sort of free range kids. I mean, this was a rural, wasn't really suburban, even though the city was the size of, well, bigger than Burlington, probably the size of Chittenden County total. Like our county was the same, but it was split between Texas and Arkansas. So it's kind of a weird setup already. And then I'm living out in the country, probably hour and a half bus ride, and 5 to 10 miles away from school. But once you get there, we've got seesaws that are just planks of wood with a handle, so we're bucking each other. We got a swing set probably 30 feet high that you can catapult yourself off 30 feet, and you have to learn how to roll, and merry-go-round. So we were, the best way I can put it, we were sort of preparation for basic training, I think is their thoughts. Because we just were rough and ready. And that was elementary school for me, marbles, so you learned physics. And then band was really my pivotal. The 3 friends that I hung out with all the way through graduating, I made in band in 6th grade. So those were mine. And then as far as the board, the reality was no one else was going to run for East District, which was my first position. I've been an 8-year employee in the district, so I'm kind of a weird anomaly, I think, in that way, to have actually worked here through an interesting time with a couple of different superintendents. But I ran again 2 years ago as the Ward 1 commissioner, and this is my 2nd year actually doing that. So that's sort of where I am. I came in really, my students were what you might call the at-risk population. They're my favorites. I somehow, probably my own kind of ADHD, draws me to them because that's the kid I was, sort of vacillating between impulsivity and chaos a little bit. Also, if free and reduced lunch had existed then, I probably would have fit that, particularly, won't go too far into that. But now it's really about how's our district serve the middle, muddy middle is what we used to call testing, when you're not excelling but you're not really struggling. Those kids get lost, and I think expanding their opportunities is what really drew me to run and to really advocate for them. And now I'm back for 2 more years, and helping now with these episodes and with the new Burlington Community newspaper articles. Be on the lookout for that for May, because that was the emphasis is our reading to end racism project, which I enjoyed. I did 3 classes at Flynn last Monday, and then 1 class at Edmonds Friday. And now I need to embarrass Nikki a little, because so I was introducing myself, and the teacher was, and talking about the board, and this really cute girl in the front went, "Oh, my mom's on the board." And I went, "You're an O'Toole?" And she went, "Yes." I went, "I texted your mom this morning about this program." And just the processing look on her face as she's going, "What?" It was just darling. And she was great through the whole program and asking questions. And a group came up afterward to look at the books with me. And it really epitomized everything great about Burlington, the interconnections between all of us as adults, how we have opportunities to relate to the kids. I'm not in the buildings much, because I have a 26-year-old who's studying abroad and went through Edmonds, both Edmonds and the high school as a kid, gold majority. She's Asian, Chinese. So those experiences molded how I thought of the district as well. She and I worked for the district till she finished 5th grade, and then I was out different jobs from there, and she continued. High school was her best. She had Chinese teacher when we had Chinese for all 4 years, so Mr. Howell was her anchor. I mean, every other day. She had him, looked exactly like her. She took to Chinese because she was there for probably the first year and a half, 2 years of her life. And that's her base language, really. And she took to it and studied a year in China to immerse after graduation. And now has, a great friend, Chinese friend in Liverpool where she's in grad school. So that's sort of my fill-in about this. So hopefully, Polly, your daughter will feel good about the high school. There's going to be a lot of opportunities this summer for her to tour with or without you, and kind of get, hopefully, hooked on that idea. But 9th grade to 10th grade is, got it. They're just sort of kind of there.
And she hasn't had, like some students at Downtown BHS have had a hard time specifically with the no windows, like infrequent time outside. And I ask her those questions and she hasn't really talked about that. And for the most part, she's had a really good year. So I think she's kind of like, well, I'm not unhappy. So like, what's the big deal about the new place? But we're all really generally, I'd say, excited talking about riding the bus to school because she can take the bus on North Ave, or we live really close to the bike path. So she could have a bike ride to school, which sounds to me like the perfect way to be. So I would say that will probably come with visits, as it will for most people. Like we see it on the outside, but then once you get inside, it's like, and I can tell you other kids in other districts are talking about it. They want a new school like Burlington. So I think that's going to create some really good buzz for everybody.
I'm hoping. I mean, they'll start tours probably after graduation, which will be the week of June 15th. They're already talking about trying to do a big walk together from Macy's to Downtown High School to New High School. Trying to close North Ave for that is kind of interesting. So, I mean, maybe they end up on the bike path, as you mentioned, and walk that way. It's about the same, probably a little safer for our more impulsive, my fellow impulsive students who might, anyway. So that'll be fun. Tours through the summer, and then the block party is what they're calling it now. I'm hoping there'll be a kind of a more fun name for that. Is now planned for August 22nd. So there'll be the ribbon cutting and just kind of a fun day. So Nikki, hopefully, I haven't done the tour, so I think they're probably going to do a board tour. So, and then Polly as well.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
I haven't. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I think we're still in the hard hat range, so we can't really get in except small groups. But I think they're talking about having student and adult-led tours, and more open. They can have more. Right now, I think the restriction is like 8 to 10 people on a tour. So once it's open, then we really can do a lot more. And then I talk a little bit about what we'll be doing for our own promotion, I guess. Next month we have legislators coming in. Martine Laroque-Gulick is a former board member, will be in, and Carol Odie and Mary Catherine Stone are reps who have all agreed to come and talk. Town Meeting TV's been great expanding the time, because just 4 people talking for 35 minutes doesn't quite work. So they're going to talk more extensively about where we are with education, bills that are pending, and then talk a little bit about each of their favorite projects. Burlington is in a weird setting that we don't have any legislator on either of the ed committees. It's very, I'm baffled by that a little bit. Both Martine and Mary Catherine have been members, but they are not currently. So that doesn't really give us access. So we're going to hear about that. Thank you. And then June, planning a rising seniors, graduating seniors session. Already have a couple of, 3 people already arranged. Our 2 student reps are going to be there to talk about Macy's, to talk about the transition. Annie Hart is our senior who's a student rep, and she's graduating, so we'll hear about what that means. And somebody brought up to me, it must be really interesting for the Macy's seniors to graduate at the new high school but not attend. So hoping to kind of figure out some ways this summer that we can bridge that gap a little. And then July we'll be promoting the block party and the tours. Hopefully want to film a tour, and the lovely people here at Town Meeting are on board for that. And then the block party. So that's kind of what we're looking at. It was mentioned earlier about how we as members commissioners can serve. So Polly, you're on Policy and Governance Committee. You want to do a little quick recap of what that's like?
So committee-wise, committees meet once a month, and usually always on the same day, which is helpful. And we suspend Robert's rules, which means that it's a more informal conversation. In the case of the Policy and Governance Committee, it's been really very much about policy and clearing out and sunsetting policies that we've had on the books. And I've learned a lot about state mandated versus sort of wishful aspirational policies that districts can come up with on their own. Policy versus procedure, where typically when people say a school policy, what they really mean is school procedures. So we have conversations about that, and some of the ones that we have coming up that I think are going to be really interesting, or the main one coming up we have to have approved by July 1st is cell phones. And the longer I work in teaching, I'm going on 20 years as full-time high school teacher, the more I think, wow, let's get cell phones and screens in general, if not like totally out of the classroom, then like way more mitigated than they are. So anyway, we don't necessarily dictate that in policy governance, but we review and make sure that we are up to date with all of the legal requirements we have around policy. So if you're interested in that, I think it's the 3rd or 4th Tuesday of the month. None of us is ever totally clear about exactly which one, but it's a later Tuesday than the other board meetings. So, and
Great.
I think happy to have anybody. Anybody can come anytime.
Okay, that's awesome.
DE&I, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, is a longstanding one, a very busy one. Polly Erickson, one of our other new members, has stepped on as Monica Ivanchik has stepped off as a member, and Jeannie Walsh. They meet the 2nd Tuesday of each month. We try to do all the committees on Tuesdays to match up with the board meetings, but on different Tuesdays. And then I'm a member, I do a couple of things. I'm a member of the new curriculum committee, and we're looking at the new teaching and learning plan that's being devised by the staff administration. And then I'm also the Tech Center, it's the Regional Advisory Board, and we meet monthly to We are not quite totally unique, but Chittenden County has 2 tech centers. So this regional board involves both of those, and they report out about attendance, about how they're matching up with the different expectations that particularly the federal government has around funding. A lot of, we have to have certain thresholds of success and progress to stay out of the bad principal schools, what we used to call it, for just showing that we were actually succeeding. And then a lot of conversation about tuition, because we have this our bond impacts all the schools because it includes the tech center. So that's kind of my roles. Curriculum meets the 4th Tuesday, which is often across from policy, but earlier. So hopefully, Polly, you can come to both if you feel like a lot of meetings in one day. So that's sort of our structure. Any thoughts?
Well, in finance and facilities.
Oh, of course. And I'm on that one as well. Sorry. We met yesterday, kind of. That's the budget. That's where budget starts, and a lot of conversation around budget. If we're looking at restructuring our school facilities, that's probably where that conversation will start as well. And that's likely happening as our population decreases for student population. And we meet before the board meeting, typically the first Tuesday of the month. We meet at 5 and then the board meets at 6. So that's sort of where we are, and I think our time is just about run out. Thank you both for being here and letting me kind of ramble the last few minutes to kind of close us out. And Heather, thank you for having attended earlier. That was a fun time watching the 3 of you talk about memories and experiences. And we'll be passing around the link to the videos as they're produced, and it'll be fun to kind of watch together, maybe a little snippet at the board meeting about this is what we're doing now. So, so thank you both, and thanks to Town Meeting TV for having us here, and I hope you guys have a good spring break.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for serving, both of you. All right, talk to you later.
Thanks.
Bye.
Have a great
Bye.
day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.